In this week's Voices from the Past, we feature the king of the crooners, Bing Crosby.
Where the blue of the night.
Bing's career stretched over half the 20th century. So let's start at the very beginning of his musical career, 1926, when Bing made his first recording. Bing was offered the chance to make a record by a former member of Paul Whiteman's orchestra, Don Clark. Bing and Al Rinker joined together and called themselves the Charleston Serenaders to record I've Got the Girl. They were accompanied by Don Clark's Biltmore Hotel Orchestra in Los Angeles. The recording was made by an electrical process using a microphone instead of the acoustic horn which had dominated the first 25 years of the century. This is significant as later in his career, Bing was to make maximum use of the intimate close mic technique which led to the crooner style of the 1930s and 40s.
I've got a girl, oh what a girl, she's got a smile, you walk a mile to see.
2 months later, Bing and Al joined the Whiteman Orchestra in Chicago, where they cut their first records with Paul Whiteman.
Pretty lips, I call you my pretty lips.
We can't talk about Bing Crosby without a mention of his best-known song, the world's best-selling Christmas song, White Christmas. Written by Irving Berlin for the 1942 musical film Holiday Inn, it topped the American charts for 11 weeks and returned to the number one position again in December 1943 and 44. Bing's version would return to the top 40 a dozen times in subsequent years. In 1963, an estimated 12 million copies had been sold. Who knows how many copies have been sold now? In 2007, the Guinness World Records reported that worldwide, Crosby's recording of White Christmas had sold at least 50 million copies. The record was so popular in the 40s that the stamper for the original Decca recording got so worn that Bing had to re-record the record again in 1947. The orchestra leader was the same as the original, John Scott Trotter, and they tried to keep close to the original arrangement. It's very difficult to tell the difference between the first and the second recordings, the only difference being the addition of flutes and celeste in the 1947 take. One thing is certain, White Christmas revealed the huge potential market for Christmas songs by establishing the themes of home and nostalgia.
I found my April dream in Portugal with you.
Not only did Bing Crosby embrace the microphone by getting close to the ribbon to increase the bass in his voice and establish the idea of the crooner, but at the end of World War II, he invested heavily in the development of reel-to-reel magnetic tape. The technology of magnetic recording using steel wire was originally invented by Danish engineer Valdemar Poulsen in 1898. The BBC used steel wire and tape for recording in the 1930s, but at the end of World War II, the Allied forces discovered the technology had been improved immensely by engineers working for Nazi Germany. After the war, the American Ampex company was established using flexible magnetic tape. Bing was keen to use tape because it meant his radio shows could be seamlessly rebroadcast without Bing having to redo his weekly radio shows live several times across the West and East Coast time zones.
Introducing Bing Crosby. Here is the moment you have been waiting for, that sensational baritone Bing Crosby.
Just one more chance.
Bing continued his popularity as a solo singer and film star during the 1950s and 60s, and his final LP was recorded in Britain in 1977.
And I wake up in the morning, put my hair down to my eyes, and she says...
A few days later, Bing gave his final performance at the BBC's Maida Vale studios in London, and a plaque commemorated the session.
You must remember this.
After the BBC session, Bing flew to Spain to enjoy his favourite pastime and played 18 holes of golf at a course near Madrid. Around 6:30 in the evening, Bing and his party headed back to the clubhouse, but he collapsed. In an ambulance, a doctor tried to revive him, but when he arrived at hospital, he was pronounced dead at the age of 74. We remember Bing with this little-known track, which is one of my favourites, April in Portugal.
I found my April dream in Portugal with you, when we discovered romance like we never knew. My head was in the clouds, my heart went crazy too, and madly I said I love you. Too soon I heard you say, this dream is for a day. That's Portugal in love in April. And when the showers fell, those tears I know so well, they told me it was spring fooling me.
What's your favourite song by Bing Crosby? Please let us know in the comments.
I found my April dream in Portugal with you, when we discovered romance like I never knew. Then morning brought the rain, and now my dream is through. But still my heart says I love you. The music and the wine convinced me you were mine, but it was just the spring fooling me. I found my April dream in Portugal with you, when we discovered romance like I never knew. Then morning brought the rain, and now my dream is through. But still my heart says I